Yes, I know it's been over a week, so sue me. Anyway, alright, this is Phreak. This is an audio commentary for WCR finally. And we've got Orc versus Undead, and it's beating the Fiend's build, which is generally pretty hard for Orc. Not as hard as Destroyers, but we don't see those this game, so can't really comment. I believe the next game I might comment will actually be beating Destroyers, which I've had pretty good luck with recently. I switched to Orc in solo for fun, and seem to be doing pretty well. I played a lot of Undead players, and have been able to beat Destroyers pretty well. Namely, some 25 plus guys, including a clanmate of mine who's I think 33, a Gecko boy, Gecko-boy. You can look up his stats; he's pretty good. I played him a while ago on my account Haterade back in 03, and lost him pretty badly. Beat him once or twice. I don't know. I think we're 2-2 in general now. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, one of the best ways you can get better is customing with people who are as good or better than you, so you can, make sure that you know what you're doing and then ask for advice afterwards, because generally with custom games, you actually ask for advice because it's more of a friendly match than a ladder game where it's, I'm going to win, F you die. And you generally call people hackers and abusers and, oh my god, lag, and you're so lucky. Whereas in custom games, when it's not like for a tournament, it's generally, oh darn, you own me, I hate you, die, but in a sarcastic tone, so it's all good. Anyway, 15-second mark of 1x speed, we have Best Wolf Saint, or SK Best Wolf, versus some random chain of numbers, which I'll hopefully not read to you. Orc versus Undead, 2 rivers, you and all that stuff. I'll try not to play the game of my listeners are blind. If you were blind to death, then you'd be screwed, but, I don't think I'm doing an audio commentary for Helen Keller, so I think we're okay. Anyway, I don't know why I even mentioned that, but what can you do? Alright, so 15-second mark, 1x speed, just where I am. Fog of War on, SK Best Wolf's point of view. And let's go ahead and unpause this, and I'll go lead you through the match and how he's winning and what he's doing and, oh my god, hacks, etc. Alright, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Here we go. So we see the Altar Burrow, which is the very standard build for Orc. You can almost do nothing without doing that. So anytime there's an Orc player, you're going to see that build straight up. Just like Altar Moon will, except that Night Elves use Beastmaster, which is a whole lot of fun. Anyway, I'll try to talk slower, and who knows? We'll see. Maybe I'm out of touch with commentating, and this one will suck. Who knows? Hopefully it'll be the best one you've ever heard. But, what can you do? Anyway, he's doing the standard build, and you see he's not yet building his barracks yet, so it actually looks like he's going to be doing a tech build instead of just making grunts and then teching, which really doesn't change a whole lot except that you get more grunts. Yeah, you get a slower tech, whatever. Anyway, so he's going to be getting his Farseer. Oh no, I ruined the surprise for you. Gasp. A Farseer, alright. So you're going to be seeing some harassment that isn't exactly successful or effective, but, you do what you can, and you're going to see how it turns out, and some tips and tricks you can go along the way using. If you haven't watched a whole lot of replays, some of these things might be new to you. Yes, we'll see. So, there's not a whole lot going down, but you do see the War Mill coming up. Why he gets the War Mill just then? No reason in particular as far as I know. It's just, well, because I can, seems to be the reason. It's kind of, when you think of it, when you think you need it, I never actually found any sort of a resounding reason when you get the War Mill. I usually got it when I went for an 18 PN build. Then when I switched up to a 17 PN build, because that works better for Wyverncraft, then you don't get the War Mill, because the War Mill's going to finish right when you start your tier 2, and so it won't exactly have any effect on your teching. So if you're trying to do a 17 PM build, of course, have that extra guy chopping wood as long as you can, and then you just start the War Mill once you actually have your 190 wood mark. If you're doing an 18 PM build, then you can go ahead and put it up, because that'll give you some immediate effects as soon as it finishes. And with getting 18 peons, you'll get 190 wood when the 18th one finishes. Anyway, so you might as well get the War Mill benefit out of it for upgrades and random stuff. So now you see the first little tip / trick / whatever the heck that I was talking about. And it's using wolves to creep, itemless creeps, while you send your Farseer over there. It's going to take time for your Farseer to get there as it is. Might as well get some benefit out of the time, which is sending wolves, because, yeah, it works. Because I said so. And apparently Best Wolf, or SK Best Wolf, says so too. So it's all good. Anyway, he sees that he's at 40 EXP, and says, okay, well now I can summon wolves. So guess what? He summons wolves. Gasp. So right now he's trying to get his wolves to actually attack acolytes. Not exactly resoundingly successful, but he's still making him get off gold and burn through a coil or two, so it's all good. So you're going to see him probably coil that Acolyte soon. Unless the Fiends can magically kill it. Oh, there's the coil. So right now, his harass is making the Death Knight use his mana, and trying not to give too much free experience by sending the wolves away. So yes, the Orc player has gotten 14 free gold. Big deal. Not exactly a resounding, oh my god, now you're screwed because I got 14 free gold. He also gets 40 EXP, which is nice, but, you know, he just fed his opponent 20 EXP, so, you know, not so far the most successful harass yet. He has, you know, slowed down a little bit of gold production. He's going to be focusing down on the Death Knight of all units, and then switches up to the Fiends, realizing that would be a smarter target. So again, he's trying to force out coils, because if you can keep the Death Knight low on mana, you know, it's always a good idea. So as you can see, he's used another coil on that Fiend, and as soon as the Wolf cooldown is done, he's going to be doing the same thing again. As you're going to be seeing him pressing the T key feverishly, there we go, and hoping for some kind of miracle like a Fiend dying, or just, you know, focusing or forcing out coils. So you see his opponent is not yet teching. However, Bestwolf is about done with it. You notice he does get the barracks after teching, because unless you're going straight up Wyverncraft, you are going to need the grunts at some point in time. So by what am I saying? You know, by getting the barracks after you tech, as opposed to before, you get your tech done faster, so you get your second hero and your bestiary and whatnot sooner. And in addition, what it does is what? Did he actually get an Acolyte? Huh. I could like unreveal the map and find out, but I'm too lazy. But what was my train of thought? Yeah, you are going to need grunts. You're not going to need an overwhelming number because you will need some raiders and whatnot. So the reason for getting the barracks after the tech is for a faster tech, for a faster second hero, for faster bestiary, because you're going to need ensnare as fast as you can get. You know, and you get the barracks at all because grunts are going to be your actual damage forces. Think of raiders like this. They're melee casters with hit points. And that's pretty much what they are. They're melee casters with siege damage, perchance. They also have the pillage ability, which no one gets, but, you know, what can you do? But really, they're melee casters. That's how you're supposed to think of them. They're not your damage units. They're not, you know, 1.04 or 1.05 mass this unit, please, kind of things. You know, it's not Castercraft anymore. But they're actually, you know, I think they're melee casters because they cast Ensnare, which owns, and since you can't exactly focus 7 units at once, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of focus firing, they're actually, you know, you only need like a handful, like maybe 3 or 4. You know, you really don't need any more because it'll just eat through food, and you know, you kind of need that food for actual combat units. You just get 3 or 4, you know, tops to ensnare stuff, and then they're pretty easy to focus down. I think a good Night Elf strategy that I've used recently is actually Grunt Raider Demolisher, where you have 2 Raiders max, and about 2 Demolishers, and the rest in Grunts and your 2 heroes, and you just simply ensnare 2 Huntresses, and then you have the Caddis focus fire each one in turn. So those Huntresses will not get away, and that's going to decimate them very, very, very badly. Those Huntresses will stand no chance because of the amount of damage that you're capable of dealing with, you know, 2 focus firing Caddis and the Huntresses not even able to move. They will die, I will guarantee you. You know, half the reason Huntresses are good is they're fast, you know. If Huntresses were as slow as Grunts, people wouldn't mass them as easily, and Cecil would not be level 24. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I had to bring that one in there. It's too easy. Anytime you mention Huntresses, you have to mention Cecil. It's like it's the law of Warcraft. Nah, Cecil's a cool guy though. It's cool. Anyway, hopefully he's not gonna flame me for this. Anyway, getting off the Cecil topic. So that's a good strapper right now. He is against Undead, and Undead does not have the Hunter's production building. So, you know, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to get catapults at all versus Undead, because they don't exactly make casters very often. Or often, if you pronounce it correctly. Anyway, on to more relevant topics. He's creeping this camp because it's sort of in a logical circle. You know, it's next to the expansion he just crept. He's making sure that he creeps camps that are effective to creep, that get him, you know, enough EXP and whatnot. Right here he's trying to get himself a level 3 TC. He knows he'll get a level 2 Farseer as it is. So he's making sure that he's making the best use out of that EXP tome as he can, you know, so he gets himself a level up, as opposed to sort of just gaining some EXP on the Farseer, which doesn't really mean anything. And anytime you get Nonk, sell it, it's worthless. Actually, it's worth 400 gold, but other than that, it's worthless. It's like the potion of rejuvenation, back before that was patched. All it's good for is a bunch of money. It's back to ROC, you get money from creeping. And so, really, that's something you want to really get through, is sell it, because really, it's not going to be a big deal to buy it. Pretty much a TP is better than an Onk, straight up. And you can get 50 gold out of it. So right here you see Ensnare is he's only got one Raider. It's already pulling its weight. Look, a free Fiend kill. And look, Shockwave owns you. Good game. He trades a Fiend for a Ghoul. Big deal. That's a good trade, because sure, they're the same EXP, but it's 15 gold and 40 wood for the undead player. Good job. So right now they're trying to knock out this Fiend and not use an ensnare on it, but that doesn't quite work. And I missed the option to ensnare. Way to go, buddy. But I'm not sure why he's microing back that grunt. It's just kind of on a rally point, I guess, to his Farseer, or his Tauren Chieftain. He moves the grunts out of the way so his Raider can get in front, then realizes it's too far away and says, okay, forget it. I'll just trade one for one. So now he's going up to creeping. He's not wasting time making sure wolves creep, because he does have salves as it is. And he doesn't have money to make more wolves, and the wolves are sort of timing out as it is. There are not exactly a lot of tanking for orange camps as it is anyway. It's not a big deal. Just use them for damage. So that's what he's doing. The wolves time out. He sends back the raiders so that he can heal them. He also sends them back because this is a melee creep and they're medium armor. It's a bad idea to have them take a lot of damage. He's letting the grunts tank or his heroes or whatever. Salving when necessary, which doesn't seem to be a whole lot. He does need to salve that one grunt, but that's all. And so he's going to pick up a salve and probably a clarity potion. Oh, gasp, a clarity potion, who would have thought? And hopefully a healing salve. Yep, I got that one right too. Man, I'm so Gosu. See, I could be level 50. I'm good. And he's making an expansion, because, as you saw, he made his opponent run away. He probably put up the Great Hall before that fight broke out, but he knew that he'd probably be in good shape, because he had a lot of grunts. He had the level 3 TC, which is pretty big, so that's a lot of damage. And he knew that his Raider was coming out right then, and knew that he could probably win a fight that came up next. And now he's killing a barracks because he trapped a Raider in. Way to go, buddy. So, yeah, because he made the sparrows and all that crap. So now he's going to be switching up to full-time bestiary units, because it's not really worth the time to have to build another one and then put in grunts. So he's going to be switching up to actually bestiary style. I think it was actually just because of the barracks. That's my theory on it. That's my hypothesis. But who knows? I could be wrong. Anyway, even though he has 450 gold, he's actually going to wait till he makes up enough money to break the food cap. There's no reason to break the food cap and go to, gasp, 53 food. Here's another thing I was talking about. You can ensnare mechanical units. So Raiders are a great counter to mass steam engines. If you're an orc and you're getting owned by that, because you've got all your fortified towers, that's what you do. Okay? Alright, so you see all these ghouls, and she's going to tier 3. And so he's like, okay, well, I'm going to kill these ghouls if I can. Gets one. Whoa, way to go, guy. Yeah. So now he's going to be focusing on the statue. The statue's kind of in a good shape. Yeah, he's ensnaring it even though it can't move as it is. Bright guy here. Alright, but anyway, he's focusing on the obsidian statue. Because, it's going to turn into a story later. As you see, he's getting tier 3. Statues heal and do cool stuff as it is. And now he's got himself, no upgrades, which I personally like to get, because, he just broke upkeep. Well, he could have spent all that money getting, armor and attack upgrades and making his current units really, really good. But instead, he's going to be focusing the Citadel. Citadel actually finishes right now, and he's TPing in. That's fun. He puts on the Shockwave, and the upgrade saves the Citadel practically. He moves the grunts out and continues the Raiders, focusing, hoping that he can get it, which doesn't happen, and as far as he was getting owned, way to go. So, he TPs just before he dies, gets really lucky there. And just realizes, well, I can't do anything. Darn, and TV's out. But he wastes quite a lot of money for his opponent. That's all good, I guess. But, he tried as hard as he could to get rid of the Black Citadel, because if he could get rid of that before Destroyer Form came, he'd be pretty much in good shape, because there'd be no way he could get Destroyers at all in any decent frame of time. So, he would have been pretty secure with his forces as they were. But, he sees that he was getting tier 3, and that he was, continuing to make obsidian statues, and realizes that he needs some kind of anti-air. Now he goes Wyvern as opposed to bats. The reason for that is ensnared bats do nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're, 12 to 13 siege damage versus fiends. Yay! Yeah, that's a little underwhelming. So he's getting Wind Riders, because at least if they're ensnared, they can attack air or ground for some kind of damage. The main thing to realize is that when you go fiends to destroyers is that bats won't cut it, because unless you heavily outnumber the fiends and the destroyers, you're not going to kill much of anything. So you notice the chain nuke goes off with the Farseer, and he gets pretty much owned. So he's doing some mass ensnare to hopefully turn that around. He gets a fiend. Yay. Trade a hero level 2 for a fiend. Not a great idea. Here the money works out in your favor, not the EXP. And, the time spent replacing it, also not great. Now you notice a little debris right there was from a statue. So he's probably got Raiders, is my best guess. Or, yeah, Raiders as undead. Good job, me. Ooh, almost gets the surround, but no. Destroyers is what I meant to say. So, yeah, there are actually destroyers in this game, whatever. At least as far as I know. Unless I missed something, doesn't really matter, we'll see. Alright, so, right now we have a battle going off, because he's like, you know what, the guy's pretty low mana on his heroes, he just spent quite a bit, trying to nuke out my heroes, I should be in good shape. And, I've got the Ghost with TC with Shockwave, you notice how many goals it just decimated, and he realized, I've got the Wind Rider, he probably does not have Web, of course now he does. And, he figures he could do pretty well against the ghouls, before he gets the destroyers out is when he needs to fight to try to thin down the Fiend lines, so that he actually has a decent counter to the destroyers. Now, there is a very low hit point. Death Knight, which is going to try to focus down. Of course, he does have a potion of invincibility. At least, makes him use that. And, Ensnare stayed on even though he's invincible. Yeah, because Ensnare's not a spell. So, invincibility doesn't dispel it. So, there you go. But anyway, he did force a potion on his, on the DK. Did get a level up on his TC, almost 5. And, oh look, the, DK, yeah, die, noob. And kills it. So, very good fight for him. You can see that Ensnare is a very good spell. All he needs is, 2, and he got a hero kill. Good job? Yes, I think so. Now he has the mana, and look at that Shockwave. GG. And he's now going to focus down on some ghouls. And, right now, he just turned this around. You can't be too afraid to fight. Now, I know in an earlier commentary, the guy almost got owned by fighting an undead base. It's all about knowing what you can do. He knew that the losing the level 2 cast Farseer wasn't a big loss. He knew that he could get it back pretty soon. He overall wasn't too worried about it, but he did realize that, judging by the army sizes, he was probably in good shape. He knew he could probably knock out the DK, he could, knock out some Fiends, and he actually turned that around quite well by having that TC out to deal all that damage. He knew he was probably in good shape because he knew his TC had the potion, so he wouldn't die very easily. He had really a good unit mix, and he figured, I could probably do it, and so he does whatever he can to do it, and it ends up working. And now he does a great job transferring off the potion. And the Farseer runs away with 30 hit points. But he has expansion up now. So he's like, alright, cool. I can even lose a battle and probably still come out ahead because he has extra income. Yeah, he has about 600 gold. So he makes a pair of Wyvern. He's just switching up to Wyverncraft now. Because he knows he's still going to be seeing some destroyers. He's still kind of afraid of going bats and getting them owned by Fiends. Because if you go Fiends, you own bats. If you go destroyers, you own ghouls. The best thing you got is Wyvern, which can do both to a pretty good extent. So, yeah, it's kind of a middle-of-the-road unit that works fairly well. So he's pumping out the Wyvern. As mentioned earlier, good choice. Styles up as Farseer because, well, he had 25 hit points. That might be a good idea. And he's sending out Wolf Scouts to check for expansions because the last thing he wants is some sort of, 3 Slaughterhouse Destroyer build of death. Now, of course, there is the Blight, but, while the building's actually being built, there's not exactly any Blight there, so he's making sure that there's no surprises. No alarms and no surprises, please. Alright, so he knows that, well, I just killed his Death Knight, I just killed most of his Fiends. He probably still doesn't have a large amount of Destroyers, because he just had to revive his level 4 Death Knight. Let's go and win the game. And so he has a Skeleton owning his Peons, and he has a whole S-load of Wyvern knocking out the statues first, so that they don't sort of own them, turning into Destroyers. But then, it runs away, so he's going to focus down Fiends and just kill what he can. He knows that he's in pretty good shape. He's kind of waiting to get the right kind of kills. He's not going in too far, so he doesn't get webbed and owned by towers. I mean, sure, he's in range of the towers, but he's not, super, I'm flanked and owned. But, he gets a good positioning on the Death Knight, and that's an easy kill for him. So, more towers going up, because that's so easy for Undead. I'm just going to make some towers, and you can't touch me. But it's too late. Best Wolf wins the game. This is almost 17 minutes is the game length. And the idle length will probably be something like 47 minutes. I'm going to talk for another hour. Yeah, that math doesn't add up. Too bad. Alright, anyway. On July 1st at 12:01 a.m., all ladders will be reset as Blizzard starts their first Warcraft 3 ladder season. Alright, so the reasons sort of adding up to the win, I feel, were really getting the right unit mix, because just straight up Fiends won't really beat you when you have a good Grunt Raider mix, as long as you micro well, because as long as the numbers are small enough that units can position, you're in good shape. It's when the undead stands and fights and they have a bunch of meat wall, then it's hard to get around and hard to focus stuff. That's when it gets tough, because when the Fiends are all lined up, and there's no way to hit them with more than 3 units at a time. It's really easy to coil stuff and use scrolls of healing and have statues have their real full effect of mass healing. All of Best Wolf's fights where, well, one of us is running in and out, so I'm going to ensnare something and kill it while you're running away, or while I'm running away, or whatever, just trading units that way, because that way when you keep the unit count small, Grunt Raider can beat Fiend. It's when there's 100 feet of each, and that's when it gets a little more tough, because the Fiends will focus fire you out before you even get in range, and then even then you can't hardly focus fire at the rate they can, so there's not a whole lot you can do when there's very, very large armies. So the best thing you can do is actually play more of a harassing game, making sure you get the right hero levels first of all, especially like that level 2 Shockwave, then just moving on to making sure that you have decent sized fights that you have the advantage in, because you have Ensnare, and if he wants to get away he's burning TPs, and that'll run him out of money eventually. So that's how you can do that. And it looks like I'm not going to go through a 3-page essay after this game, so I'm just going to leave you guys with some good luck, have fun, 21-minute audio. Later, guys.